Everyone left, but Meng Meng still wanted to complain to Chu Jingxi. Chu Jingxi didn't give her the chance. Take your sister to get her face treated first. This was the second thing he said after seeing Meng Ruxue being slapped by Luo Shi, but he didn't mention a word about blaming Luo Shi. Meng Meng felt even more wrong than Meng Ruxue and wanted to ask Chu Jingxi why he indulged Luo Shi. But Meng Ruxue covered her face and ran away, so she could only stomp her feet and chase after her. Chu Jingxi glanced at Su Yi, and Su Yi quickly made herself scarce. Luo Shi. Are these really her best friends? Keep up. Chu Jingxi also turned and left. He surprisingly didn't settle the score after the fact. Luo Shi found it strange and followed him, asking, "You're not angry?" Chu Jingxi. "I am. If you're angry, then Luo. I'm angry that you're stupid. Don't you know that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction? The more it hurts the other person's face, the more it hurts your hand. Wasn't there a vase on the table? Or was the vase not handy?" Chu Jingxi interrupted her in a deep voice. Luo Shi. He wanted her to smash Meng Ruxue with a vase? Chu Jingxi. Luo Shi moved closer to observe him. Have you been possessed by someone? Otherwise, he wouldn't be so abnormal. To be honest, she was mentally prepared to be hit back by Chu Jingxi in public, but he surprised her with a reversal. Besides me, who else knows that you have a mole 3 inches below your navel? His answer sounded in her ear. The roots of Luo Shi's ears turned visibly red. This instantly reminded her of the scene where the scoundrel went crazy kissing the little red mole after seeing it. Oh no, her face was starting to burn too. Chu Jingxi obviously also thought of his own out-of-control behavior last time. His Adam's apple bobbed, and he felt a sudden heat. He stepped forward, leaving behind a sentence. Hurry up. What's the rush? A scoundrel who doesn't take responsibility after he's done. The little bit of E in Luo Shi's mind was dispelled by his harsh tone. She lifted her skirt and chased after him. Meng Ruxue ran straight to the bathroom, and looking at the distinct handprint on her face, she felt a coppery taste in her throat. Why? Why did Chu Jingxi indulge Luo Shi in hitting her? He clearly didn't like Luo Shi, so why did he act so out of character? Meng Ruxue clenched her fists. She must figure out Chu Jingxi's abnormal behavior. Auction hall? As soon as Luo Shi entered, she saw Tang Kanqing. Her eyes lit up, and she flew past Chu Jingxi like a little swallow, landing beside Tang Kanqing. Brother Qing, why are you here? Luo Shi was pleasantly surprised. Tang Kanqing smiled and pinched her cheek. Why have you lost weight? Is it very tiring to run the medicinal cuisine restaurant? Hey, don't pinch my face, you'll smudge my makeup. I haven't lost weight, I'm just toned now. Luo Shi pulled his hand down in dissatisfaction, but there was no blame in her tone. Tang Kanqing chuckled and deliberately pinched her cheek again, making her stomp her foot before answering her question. I heard that Master Wu will be here tonight, and I thought you liked him, so I came to get his autograph for you. You really are a true brother. Luo Shi's eyes and eyebrows curved into smiles. Not far away, Gu Zhe said sarcastically. You just slapped Meng Ruxue for her, and she didn't even smile at you like this. Chu Jingxi, with a dark face, walked over and, as if asserting his dominance, put his arm around Luo Shi's waist. He looked at Tang Kanqing with a cold gaze. Dr. Tang, it's better to keep some distance from other people's wives. Tang Kanqing looked slightly surprised. So, mister, Chu knows he has a wife. Chu Jingxi's face darkened even more. Chu Jingxi, it seems they're calling you over to sit. Luo Shi didn't want Tang Kanqing to offend Chu Jingxi because of her, so she promptly reminded him. Seeing her defending Tang Kanqing, Chu Jingxi tightened his grip on her waist, making her almost cry out in pain. Luckily, she controlled her expression and quickly pushed him forward, not forgetting to wave goodbye to Tang Kanqing. Daring to flirt with other men in front of me, Luo Shi. Are you trying to die? Chu Jingxi squeezed out these words from between his teeth. Luo Shi didn't know what he was angry about. Didn't you already know he's my backup plan? Chu Jingxi was choked with anger and really wanted to break this woman's waist. Luo Shi sensed the danger and slipped out of his arm like a loach, running to her seat in a few steps. Coincidentally, she sat next to her idol, Master Wu. It was the first time she had been so close to her idol. Luo Shi was so excited that she didn't know what to say. Chu Jingxi sat down next to her, and seeing the woman beside him glancing at Master Wu from time to time, the anger he had just suppressed flared up again. Damn woman, what's so interesting about a half-hundred-year-old man? Isn't Tang Kanqing a doctor? Let him take a look at your eyes. I think you're pretty blind, Chu Jingxi said sarcastically. Luo Shi turned to him with a smile. Sure, and while he's at it, he could take a look at your brain. You never know, there might be something seriously wrong with it. Cursing me? Chu Jingxi also smiled a very cold smile. Even if I die, don't even think about inheriting my inheritance. Luo, she smiled even more brilliantly. Is it possible that I'm just scolding you? Chu Jingshi. He would be angered to death by her sooner or later. You're an interesting girl. Wu Baoshan, who was sitting nearby, overheard their argument and looked over with a kind smile. Her idol was talking to her. Luo, she instantly put on a dignified face. Master Wu, please don't misunderstand. I'm just provoked by him. I'm usually not like this. Yes, usually her mouth is even more irritating. Chu Jingshi confirmed. Shut up, don't talk. Luo, she blurted out her inner thoughts in her excitement. Don't ruin my image in front of my idol. Wu Baoshan was amused and asked her, Do you like my paintings? I do. I like them very much. Luo, she nodded like a chicken pecking rice. My favorite is your night dream. You know about night dream? Wu Baoshan asked. Luo, she's voice lowered. Suddenly in a night dream, I returned home. By the small window, she was dressing her hair. We looked at each other without a word. Only tears streamed down our faces. I know that every year my heart will break, on that moonlit night, at the hill with the short pines. That was your painting to mourn your late wife 10 years after her death. It was only exhibited once, and you couldn't bear to show it again. I only saw it once too. Mentioning his late wife, Wu Baoshan was silent for a moment, then said earnestly to her and Chu Jingshi, Cherish the people in front of you. Luo, she glanced at Chu Jingshi. Humph. The person he wanted to cherish was never her. Chu Jingshi glanced back at her. The woman who wanted to put 18 green hats on his head every day, what did she know about cherishing? Wu Baoshan smiled and shook his head. What a pair of rivals. The auction began amidst Chu Jingshi and Luo Shi's mutual disdain. Luo, she wasn't interested in the items donated by others. She just wanted to take a closer look at the painting donated by Master Wu. Therefore, she was a little drowsy in the beginning. She got up too early in the morning and didn't rest in the afternoon, so she was really a little sleepy at the moment. Her head bobbed, and soon it landed on Chu Jingshi's shoulder. He was about to shake her off, but out of the corner of his eye, he saw that she was already fast asleep. While he was worried that she would drool on his clothes, he secretly sat down a little lower so that she could lean more comfortably. Wu Baoshan saw Chu Jingshi's awkward behavior and smiled silently. Jingshi, aren't you going to bid on Rushua's painting? Luo, she was sleeping soundly when she suddenly heard Gu Zai's voice. She sat up abruptly. Don't you dare. Then she slumped back on a Chu Jingshi's shoulder with a thud. Obviously, she was talking in her sleep just now, but those sitting close by heard it, and many couldn't help but chuckle. This Mrs. Chu was really tough when she needed to be. She even dared to hit the eldest lady of the Meng family, and the Meng family was no small household. But she was also really cute when she was being dorky, not forgetting to be jealous and domineering even in her sleep. Chu Jingshi raised his hand to his forehead. He wanted to throw this woman out. In this brief delay, Meng Rushue's painting had already been sold, and he had no chance to bid even if he wanted to. Sitting in the back row, Meng Rushue, whose face was already extremely unpleasant, now had the urge to tear Luo Shi apart. Vixen, once she figured out the reason for Jingshi's strange behavior, she would return tonight's humiliation twofold. Ladies and gentlemen, the next item up for auction is donated by the master of Chinese painting, Master Wu Baoshan. Guests who like Master Wu's paintings don't miss this opportunity. As soon as the auctioneer finished speaking, Chu Jingshi felt his shoulder lighten. The woman who was sleeping like a log just a second ago was now completely awake. Chu Jingshi, you were pretending to be asleep all along, weren't you? He had a headache because of this woman. Leaving behind the words, I'm going out for a smoke, he stood up and walked out. Luo, she waved her hand indifferently. Her attention was now on Master Wu's painting. Gu Zai was laughing so hard. He was about to get up to go smoke with Chu Jingshi when he saw the waiter who was serving tea to Luo. She pull out a dagger from his sleeve and stab it towards her. Watch out! Luoshi hadn't even reacted when Wu Baoshan beside her suddenly tackled the waiter to the ground. Red blood seeped from Wu Baoshan's arm. Screams erupted, and the nearest security guards were the first to rush forward to apprehend the attacker. But the waiter was too agile. After taking down a guard with one slash, he fled. Blood spread across Luoshi's field of vision. She sat frozen in her chair, her ears ringing, mixed with many voices calling for help. The fallen Wu Baoshan and security guard on the ground transformed into two other hauntingly familiar faces. Her mouth opened to scream, but no sound came out, her entire body shaking like a sieve. Don't be afraid. A steady voice with a hint of coolness pierced through the chaotic ringing in her ears, and her trembling body was pulled into a familiar embrace. Chu Jingshi. It was him. Luoshi slowly came to her senses. Cici, save them. Tang Kongqing's urgent voice interrupted her. Luoxi's delicate frame shuddered again as she saw Tang Kongqing trying to save a security guard while Wu Baoshan's wound continued to bleed. Save them! Tang Kongqing shouted at her. Cici, save them! Luoxi suddenly pushed away Chu Jingxi and stumbled to Wu Baoshan's side. She grabbed his wrist to check his pulse, and as soon as she felt the heartbeat, she felt nauseous. Fighting down the nausea, Luoxi forced herself to overcome her psychological barrier. After determining that Wu Baoshan's condition was due to shock causing elevated blood pressure, rapid breathing, and accelerated heartbeat, she yanked the brooch from Chu Jingxi's suit and used its tip to pierce acupuncture points on Wu Baoshan's ear. Blood immediately appeared on Wu Baoshan's ear. Luoxi, are you saving him or killing him? Meng Meng shouted. Stop her! She's not a doctor. She'll kill Master Wu. Shut up! Luoxi glared at Meng Meng with bloodshot eyes. Keep chattering, and I'll stick you with a needle first. Terrified by her frightening gaze, Meng Meng repeatedly backed away. No one else dared to speak up after that, but they were all worried for Master Wu's sake. Luoxi didn't look like she was saving anyone. Luoxi had no attention to spare for others. They saw her drawing blood with each needle, not knowing how much effort it took her to keep her hands from shaking. Ear tip, angle depression, shinmin, kidney point, liver point, heart point, endocrine. She muttered to herself while precisely inserting needles, each one placed without the slightest error. After the 7th needle, Wu Baoshan's ear was covered in blood, making his pale face look even whiter, but anyone could see that his condition had stabilized. She really was saving him after all. Incredible. How did this work? Chu Jingxi was also amazed, but what surprised him was that Luoxi knew medical skills. In 3 years of marriage, she had never shown any medical knowledge in front of him. Making medicinal foods, understanding pharmacology, and now medical skills. Just how many things had this woman kept from him? Wu Baoshan's blood pressure had come down, but the wound was still bleeding. Without delay, Luoxi grabbed a teacup from the small table, poured out the water, kept the tea leaves, crushed them with her hands, applied them to the wound, and finally bandaged it with Chu Jingxi's pocket square. How can she put tea leaves on the wound? Think of all the bacteria. Someone's germophobia was acting up. Tang Kongqing shot them a look. Tea leaves contain tannins that can coagulate proteins. Used tea leaves release large amounts of tannins, which protect the skin and mucous membranes, reduce plasma leakage, and help stop bleeding. If you don't understand, keep quiet instead of spouting nonsense. The person's face turned bright red. Others looked confused. How did Mrs. Chu, reportedly from a small town, know such professional knowledge? By the time the ambulance arrived, Tang Kongqing and Luoxi had stabilized both victims' conditions. Tang Kongqing briefed the paramedics on the victims' conditions, and the security guard and Wu Baoshan were immediately taken to the hospital for further treatment. Cici, are you all right? Tang Kongqing came over to help Luoxi up. As soon as Luoxi stood, she felt terribly nauseous and ran outside. Cici, Tang Kongqing anxiously followed. Chu Jingxi also moved to follow. A few steps behind, he came out to find Luoxi vomiting uncontrollably. Remembering her question from last night about whether he liked children, Chu Jingxi's eyes narrowed. Are you pregnant? Tang Kongqing's action of patting Luoxi's back stiffened. Luoxi vomited until her face turned pale. Hearing Chu Jingxi's cold voice, she suddenly got up. I'm carrying your. Before she could finish the word grandfather, her vision went black and she fell backward. Shi. Luoxi. 2 men spoke in unison. Chu Jingxi's body reacted faster than his mind. He took a step forward and grabbed her hand. Tang Kongqing was closer and quickly scooped Luoxi up in his arms. Chu Jingxi tightly grasped Luoxi's hand. Give her to me. What right do you have? Tang Kongqing questioned. I am her husband, Chu Jingxi stated his identity. Tang Kongqing sneered. Have you ever given her the care a husband should give, or the comfort a husband should give, or even the love a husband should give? Chu Jingxi's fingertips twitched. At this moment, Sui had already driven the car over. Dr. Tang, get in quickly. Let go if you don't want her to get hurt. Chu Jingxi didn't let go, preventing Tang Kongqing from getting into the car. The man looked at the woman's pale face. He had been married to her for 3 years, and she had always been full of vitality. When had she ever been so weak? Was it because she was almost killed and got scared? A flash of annoyance appeared in Chu Jingxi's eyes, and he slowly released his hand. Tang Kongqing turned and got into the car. Sui stepped on the gas pedal, speeding past Chu Jingxi, leaving a trail of exhaust fumes behind. Are you planning to stand here and become a wife-watching stone? Gu Zai, who had witnessed the whole scene, walked over. Chu Jingxi concealed the emotions in his eyes and thanked him. Thank you. If it weren't for Gu Zai's sharp eyes and his shout, Master Wu wouldn't have reacted so quickly. The result was obvious. Luo, she would have been the one sent to the hospital for emergency treatment. You can say thank you to others? Gu Zai said exaggeratedly. Once in a lifetime series. Chu Jingshi wasn't in the mood to banter with him. He took out his phone and made a call, saying only 4 words. I want him alive. Gu Zai raised an eyebrow. Do you know who wants to kill Luo Shi? Chu Jingshi pursed his lips and remained silent. Your uncle? Gu Zai asked and answered himself, then shook his head. He only knows how to fool around. Now that your aunt is gone, he's probably having fun with some woman. He likely has no time to participate in your affairs with the Ning family. That leaves the other members of the Ning family, but why would they kill Luo Shi? Chu Jingshi's fist clenched. Gu Zai had a sudden realization. Because you didn't divorce Luo Shi and even acted like you loved her. The Ning family's plan to control you through your second marriage failed, so they decided to go for broke. Chu Jingshi's lips tightened even more. Your acting even fooled me. Gu Zai admired. I thought you really liked Luo Shi. Turns out you were just acting for the Ning family. You were waiting for them to make a move, so you could use it against them, right? But it's a bit ruthless. Didn't you consider this kind of situation? What if I didn't see it? Luo, she might have really died. Chu Jingshi said angrily. I didn't expect them to act so fast. Gu Zai could feel that Chu Jingshi regretted using Luo Shi as bait. He didn't understand. Do you like her or not? Sighing, he still reminded him. You better keep this to yourself. Don't let Luo Shi know. Otherwise, even if she loves you to the core, she won't forgive a man who doesn't value her life. I didn't, Chu Jingshi denied. He admitted that he used Luo Shi as bait tonight, but he didn't expect the Ning family to be in such a hurry. He had already arranged bodyguards to protect Luo Shi secretly every day. Only you know whether you did or not. Others will only see what you did. Gu Zai understood women better than him. He left after saying this. Brother, I can only help you this far. Chu Jingshi stood in place, the owl in his eyes growing stronger. No one noticed that a person was hiding behind a pillar not far away, hearing every word of his conversation with Gu Zai. After they left, Meng Ruxue emerged from behind the pillar, holding a phone in her hand. The screen was still lit, showing that it was recording. So that's it? Meng Ruxue wanted to laugh out loud. She knew that Chu Jingshi could like anyone but Luo Shi. The Ning family. After receiving the news of the failed plan, the Ning family immediately initiated a cleanup plan, arranging for someone to escort the killer away. Elder Ning sternly instructed his eldest son, Ning Ziyuan, we must not let Chu Jingshi catch anyone alive. If they can't leave, then... He made a throat-slitting gesture. Ning Ziyuan understood. Don't worry, Dad. I've made all the arrangements. They know what to do. We caught them by surprise. No matter how fast Chu Jingshi is, he won't be able to catch anyone. Let's hope so. Elder Ning couldn't help but feel unwilling. Such a good opportunity wasted. If Luo Shi had died tonight, Chu Jingshi would definitely be absent from tomorrow's board meeting, and we wouldn't have to go through so much trouble with him. Ning Ziyuan sighed helplessly. We'll just have to find another opportunity. Do you think Chu Jingshi will give us a second chance? Elder Ning snorted coldly. Don't think about targeting Luo Shi again. Otherwise, you'll just be walking into Chu Jingshi's trap. Ning Ziyuan was awakened and broke out in a cold sweat. If his father hadn't pointed it out, his next attempt on Luo Shi's life would have been like walking into a trap. Chu Jingshi was no longer the young master who was always restrained. He couldn't afford to look at him with the same old eyes. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he died. When Chu Jingshi arrived at the hospital after handling the aftermath, Luo Shi had just finished a series of examinations and was wheeled into the ward. She was in a deep sleep, which worried him. Why hasn't she woken up yet? She was given sleeping pills. Tang Kongqing showed him no courtesy. How could you give her medication so casually? What if she's pregnant, given how much she was vomiting? As a doctor, don't you know pregnant women shouldn't take random medications? Chu Jingshi's face darkened severely. Tang Kongqing let out a mocking laugh. The toxins had just been cleared, and who knew if the sperm even had any survival rate? Where did this confidence about getting someone pregnant come from? What are you laughing at? Chu Jingshi was very resistant to his mockery, as if his male pride had been wounded. Tang Kongqing sneered again. I'm laughing because you claim to be Cici's husband, yet you don't even know she's hemophobic. Chu Jingshi was surprised. She's afraid of blood? But Tang Kongqing had no interest in discussing further with him. Just seeing him was irritating, and there was a lingering, inescapable jealousy. The person he cherished in his heart. Knowing she only saw him as a brother, he never dared to speak a word of his feelings, carefully protecting her for years. Yet Chu Jingshi had hurt her again and again. If not for his medical ethics, he would have wanted to blind Chu Jingshi's eyes. If they couldn't see Cece's goodness, what use were they? Cece needs rest. You should leave. Don't disturb her. Tang Kongqing impatiently dismissed him. As a man himself, how could Chu Jingxi not see his feelings for Luoxi? Unless he wanted to be cuckolded, he wouldn't leave her alone with him. I should be the one saying that, Dr. Tang. My wife needs rest. So please maintain your medical ethics and don't disturb the patient. He returned the same words, even more righteously given his status as her husband. Tang Kongqing questioned angrily. If you truly treated her as your wife, how did she end up here? That assassin was targeting you, wasn't he? Only because you got up and left did they switch targets to kill Cece. Chu Jingxi, haven't you heard her enough? Chu Jingxi suddenly fell silent, his dominance diminishing. Tang Kongqing's guess was very close to the truth. Luoxi had indeed almost been killed because of him. Divorce her. Let her go. You've gotten what you wanted, and she's done more than enough for you these 3 years. Whether there's merit or not, she's suffered enough. Let her live a normal life. She doesn't belong in your circle. Seeing his guilt, Tang Kongqing pressed on, hoping he would agree in this moment of remorse. I will make it up to her. Chu Jingxi regained his imposing manner. But divorce is absolutely impossible. Let him fulfill their wishes. Keep dreaming. Without waiting for Tang Kongqing to speak again, he called in his bodyguards to escort him out. Tang Kongqing left in anger. Finally able to look at Luoxi carefully, Chu Jingxi noticed her face was even paler than before. Perhaps having a nightmare. Her brows were tightly furrowed, hands clutching the blanket, mumbling something. He bent down to listen, faintly hearing calls for Dad and Mom. Chu Jingxi suddenly remembered what his aunt had said about her background. Her parents died early, and she married him for her sick grandfather. His aunt had asked him to treat her well, given her filial piety. He had wanted to be good to her, but whenever she was like his aunt, trying to make him drink unpalatable soups, he would feel an innate irritation. He hated being forced, and thus never showed her a kind face. Dad, Mom, don't go. Don't leave me. Luoxi suddenly choked up, grabbing at the air. Chu Jingxi caught her hand, his voice gentle and soothing. I'm here, don't be afraid. Luoxi immediately calmed down, firmly holding his hand in hers. Chu Jingxi felt the fine scars in her palm, left from her previous injury. He only learned later that when the glass broke at home, her hands were cut by the shards. That day she had called him 7 times, and he hadn't answered. She must have felt so helpless alone at the hospital. Chu Jingxi's eyes filled with deep remorse as he tightened his grip on her hand slightly. When Chen Shu quietly pushed open the door, this was the scene he saw. His boss holding his wife's hand with a guilty expression, as if handling a porcelain doll, careful and gentle. He was reluctant to disturb them, but had important matters to report, so he had to cough lightly. Mr. Chu, brother man. Let's talk outside. Chu Jingxi gave him a silencing look, carefully extracted his hand from Luoxi's and tucked hers back under the blanket before standing up to leave. Chen Shu followed behind him, saying softly, Brother man says they caught the person, still alive, and asks how you want to handle it. Chu Jingxi. Hand them over to the police. Chen Shu suddenly looked up. To the police? Is there a problem? Chu Jingxi's gaze swept over. Chen Shu's neck shrank, hesitating for several seconds before risking advice. The assassin was clearly sent by the Ning family. Brother man has caught them alive now. If we leak this information to the Ning family, they'll definitely vote in favor at tomorrow's board meeting. Chu Jingxi's gaze was heavy, making Chen Shu feel he might be sentenced to death any second. However, after a few seconds, Chu Jingxi withdrew his gaze. I regret it. Kensku, I thought I could protect her, so I had thoughts of using her, but she almost lost her life because of my arrogance. If I still exchange her life for benefits, I truly wouldn't deserve to be her husband. Chu Jingxi's tone was full of irredeemable regret. Chen Shu was too shocked to speak. His boss had really fallen in love with his wife. For a moment, he didn't know whether to be happy for his boss or feel pain for the abandoned benefits. But as an assistant, he naturally took his boss's orders as supreme command, nodding. I understand. I'll notify Brother Man right away to send a person to the police station. Also, arrange for a leading psychological expert overnight. Chu Jingxi added. Chen Shu was confused. Who needs to see a psychologist? Chu Jingxi's gaze turned toward the ward. Tang Kongqing says she's hemophobic. Fear of blood is usually psychological. Get an expert to examine her. Chen Shu understood and went to handle it immediately. Chu Jingxi stood outside for a while before going back in. She had become restless again, so he reached under the blanket to hold her hand, and only then did her brows relax. Sleep. I'm here with you. His gentle reassurance sounded in the quiet ward. Luoxi had a dream where she returned to the small town where she grew up. Her grandfather ran a traditional Chinese medicine clinic passed down through generations. Her father followed in his footsteps, and both were renowned doctors in the surrounding villages. The small clinic was always crowded with patients. Her mother was in charge of dispensing medicine, sharing a magical understanding with her father. No matter how messy his handwriting was on prescriptions, she could understand them at a glance. Every day after school, she would help at the clinic, sometimes passing silver needles to her grandfather, sometimes helping her father write prescriptions, or helping her mother prepare medicines. Her grandmother took care of the family's meals. As a medicinal food chef, she always ensured everyone was well fed. Having grown up eating medicinal foods, Luoshi was healthier than her peers. Life was simple, yet happy. Luoshi thought they would live this way forever, and had early on decided to become a doctor like her grandfather and father. But fate can be cruel. When a patient's relative severed her parents' major arteries with a cleaver, her happiness and aspirations were shattered along with them. Her parents and grandparents passed away one after another, leaving her alone. In her dream, Luoshi cried uncontrollably, waking up with swollen eyes. "Thank heavens you're finally awake," Su Ye's voice sounded beside her. Luoshi looked around the hospital room in confusion. "Why am I in the hospital?" "You fainted." Su Yi saw her confused expression and asked, "Don't tell me you've forgotten what happened last night." Bloody images suddenly flashed through her mind, and Luoshi closed her eyes, shaking her head uncomfortably. She remembered, last night at the auction, a waiter had tried to kill her, and Master Wu had saved her. "How is Master Wu?" Luoshi asked immediately after remembering. "Thanks to you lowering his blood pressure in time, or he might have had a stroke. Apart from a few stitches on his arm, he's fine," Su Yi informed her. Luoshi felt relieved and pulled back her covers to get up. "I should go see Master Wu. If it weren't for him saving me, I might be in a crematorium by now." Teisco, Vita your tongue. Su Yi spat on the ground 3 times superstitiously, then glared at her. "What nonsense are you talking about first thing in the morning? Get back in bed. We don't even know if Master Wu is awake yet. You can visit him later. Besides, Chu Jingxi has already thanked Master Wu on your behalf. He won't mind if you're a bit late with your courtesy." "Who?" Luoshi thought she had misheard. "You mean Brother Qing, right? How could Chu Jingxi have gone to thank her savior?" Dr. Tang went too, of course, but Chu Jingxi not only visited, he also arranged for specialists to examine Master Wu and covered all the expenses. Su Yi also spoke with a tone of surprise. "What's gotten into him?" Luoshi pointed at her head. "Did anyone suggest he get this checked?" "I think what needs checking is this." Su Yi pointed at her heart, boldly speculating. "Could it be that he likes you? Is something wrong with your head too?" Luoshi looked toward the window. If Chu Jingxi liked me, the sun would rise in the west. Though his recent behavior had been unusual, Luoshi didn't dare assume too much. "I'm not just saying this without reason," Su Yi told her. "Last night, Chu Jingxi stayed with you the whole night. If his assistant hadn't desperately called him, saying he couldn't miss today's board meeting, I think he would have stayed until you woke up." At this, Luoshi recalled that in her half-conscious state, she had seemed to smell Chu Jingxi's scent. She had assumed she was just too deeply affected by him, that even her dreams included him, and hadn't considered other possibilities. She knew better than anyone how much Chu Jingxi hated hospitals. Yet someone who disliked hospitals so much had stayed there all night. Luoshi really didn't want to read too much into it, but her heart couldn't help but skip with joy. Perhaps Chu Jingxi didn't despise her as much as he appeared to. "With that look on your face, is your heart fluttering?" Su Yi noticed the smile in her eyes and teased her. Luoshi immediately hid her secret joy with a guilty conscience and cleared her throat, asking, "After seeing Master Wu, can I be discharged?" She didn't like the smell of disinfectant in the hospital either. "I'm afraid not." Su Yi prepared her. "Dr. Tang said you have a blood phobia." Chu Jingxi had his assistant contact a renowned psychiatrist in the middle of the night. "They're flying in from the imperial capital today, specifically to see you." Luoshi. She didn't have a blood phobia. Her fear, nervousness, and even vomiting at the sight of blood were psychological sequelae from witnessing her parents' murder. It wasn't just the sight of blood. She reacted the same way when taking someone's pulse. That's why she didn't inherit her grandfather's legacy. But this truth was only known to her and Tang Kanqing. Even Su Yi thought she simply had a blood phobia. "I won't see them. I want to be discharged now." She refused to see a psychiatrist. What would she say when the doctor asked her why she was afraid of blood? She didn't want to recall those bloody scenes at all. "Just see them, she. Su Yi gently persuaded her. "Your medical skills are so good. It's a pity that you can't become a doctor because of your blood phobia and can only work in the kitchen. I feel sorry for you." She and She met when she was having severe menstrual cramps and was about to faint. She saw that she had this problem and gave her a prescription. She followed the prescription, and now as long as she keeps warm, she rarely experiences pain. At first, she thought Luo she didn't become a doctor because she was afraid of embarrassing Chu Jingxi. Later, she found out it was because of her blood phobia. She wondered how a traditional Chinese medicine doctor who doesn't see blood could be affected. It wasn't until she saw Luo she vomiting violently after saving someone that she realized it wasn't a normal blood phobia. It was so severe that just by having a patient sit in front of her, she could automatically imagine their bloody, gory state. So, she couldn't treat patients at all. Suyi truly felt sorry for her and sincerely hoped she could overcome her blood phobia and become a doctor in the future. You look down on chefs? Luo, she was unhappy. Am I just an ordinary chef? I'm a medicinal cuisine chef, half a doctor. For minor ailments, just eat my medicinal cuisine and you'll be cured. You actually look down on medicinal cuisine chefs. I'm going to mobilize my fellow medicinal cuisine chefs to look down on you. So yeah, she's starting to joke around again, always doing this when this topic comes up. I can't win against you. You should say that to Chu Jingxi. I'm going to buy you something to eat. What do you want? So you didn't bother arguing. Luo she had vomited everything last night and was really hungry now. She urged, anything is fine, just one request, hurry up, I'm starving. All right. Suyi grabbed her bag and headed out. Afraid she was worried about the guests at the medicinal cuisine house, she turned back and said, don't worry about the medicinal cuisine house. I've already asked the newly hired medicinal cuisine chef to take over. You found a medicinal cuisine chef in just one day. Luo she marveled at her efficiency. I'm not that capable. Suyi said, your husband found them. The reason was that I mentioned you probably wouldn't want to see a psychiatrist because there were still several tables of guests today who ordered medicinal cuisine. So he had his assistant dig up a medicinal cuisine chef overnight. Luo she. Her heart, once again, couldn't help but ripple. Ding dong. Just after Suyi left, Luo she's phone, which she didn't know where she had put it, rang. She searched around and finally found it in her bag on the sofa. The unknown number texted her again. Luo she's heart instinctively tensed up. Last time, it was an intimate video of Chu Jingxi and Meng Ruxue. What would it be this time? When Luoshi was about to delete the ostrich's thoughts, she accidentally clicked view instead. Do you know who wants to kill Luoshi? It was Gu Zai's voice. Luoshi's ears perked up. She also wanted to know who the assassin was. Your uncle? He only knows how to carouse. Now that your aunt is gone, he's probably in some woman's bed having fun. He likely has no time to get involved in your affairs with the Ning family. So it must be others from the Ning family. But why would they want to kill Luoshi? Because you haven't divorced Luoshi and even appear to like her. The Ning family's plan to control you through your second marriage failed. So they decided to pull out the rug from under you completely. Your acting even fooled me. I thought you really liked Luoshi, but it was all an act for the Ning family. You were waiting for them to make a move so you could use it against them. But that's somewhat cruel. Didn't you consider today's situation? If I hadn't seen it, Luoshi might have really died. I didn't expect them to move so quickly. The audio ended abruptly there, just like Luoshi's blood seemed to stop flowing with Chu Jingxi's words. Luoshi froze. Only her heart still beating, each beat feeling like it was landing on a knife's edge, bleeding with pain. Chu Jingxi's parents died in an accident when he was 3. As the group teetered, his aunt married the second son of the Ning family, the group's second largest shareholder, an unlearned, philandering man. Aunt Chu sacrificed herself for the group's support. Knowing the Ning family's predatory ambitions, she never had children to prevent shares from falling into their hands, leaving everything to Chu Jingxi after her death. She knew the Ning family's influence was deeply rooted in the group, and even as the largest shareholder, Chu Jingxi would face difficulties, like a newly crowned emperor constrained by his ministers. However, she didn't know the Ning family had their eyes on the position of Mrs. Chu, planning to control Chu Jingxi through marriage. She certainly never imagined Chu Jingxi would turn their plan against them, pushing her under the Ning family's blade, waiting for them to act so he could use it to eliminate some of their influence. Laughably, she hadn't seen through Chu Jingxi's act. She had even felt secretly pleased by Su Ye's words and thought he had developed at least a little fondness for her. How foolish. Refusing divorce was an act for the Ning family. Taking her to banquets was an act for the Ning family. Not minding when she hit Meng Ruxue was also for the Ning family. Finally, he got what he wanted. The Ning family saw it, made their move, and today's board meeting, he must have conducted it with a smile. When Suyi returned with breakfast, she saw Luoshi sitting on the sofa, her eyes red as if she'd been crying. Cece, what's wrong? She was startled. Luoshi gathered herself, forcing a slight smile. Nothing. Did you bring breakfast? I'm starving. Suyi handed her a bowl of porridge, half convinced. You vomited badly last night. The doctor said to eat soft foods in the morning. Luoshi nodded, silently drinking the porridge. She wanted to vomit after just a few sips, but forced herself to hold it down. Su Yi peeled an egg and put it in her bowl. You eat too. Don't just take care of me. Luoshi looked up and joked. I'm not disabled, Su Yi said fearfully. If you weren't lucky, being disabled would have been the least of it. Luoshi's fingers trembled. The assassin's knife hadn't pierced her body, but Chu Jingshi's knife had pierced her heart. She felt like her heart was deflating, every breath painful. After several seconds, she asked, Did they catch the assassin? Yes, Su Yi said angrily. I don't know what kind of psycho would want to kill you. You haven't offended anyone. I even suspect Meng Rushua hired the killer. Luoshi smiled coldly. Beauty brings misfortune. Su Yi. What do you mean? Luoshi shook her head without explaining. Su Yi pondered, thinking she meant Chu Jingshi was the beauty. Was it really Meng Rushua? She thought it quite possible, since Meng Rushua had been humiliated by Luoshi last night, and Chu Jingshi had taken Luoshi's side, destroying both her dignity and face. That's for the police to investigate, Luoshi didn't explain, putting down her barely touched porridge. Which room is Master Wu in? I'll visit him. Could you help me handle the discharge procedures? You're done eating? Su Yi looked at her bowl. Is it not to your taste? Luoshi shook her head. Maybe my stomach hasn't recovered. I feel nauseous when I eat. Hearing this, Su Yi didn't force her and told her Wu Baoshan's room number. Wu Baoshan was staying downstairs. When Luoshi entered, he had just put down his chopsticks and smiled, gesturing her to sit. Luoshi first bowed deeply to him. Master Wu, thank you. That's enough, sit down. People might think you're here to say goodbye. Wu Baoshan joked. No, children's words don't count. You'll surely live to be 100. Luoshi copied Su Ye's manner of warding off bad luck. Haha, I'm already a 50-year-old man, hardly a child. Wu Baoshan laughed. Luoshi smiled. Haven't you heard of being young at heart? You girl, Wu Baoshan smiled and commented. Your personality really complements your husband's. At the mention of Chu Jingshi, Luoshi's heart ached pathetically. She subtly changed the subject. How many days do you need to stay in the hospital? Wu Baoshan waved his hand. It's just a minor injury. No need for hospitalization. I can recover at home. When you're old, you don't like staying in places like this. You should stay for a few days, Luoshi advised. Your right arm is injured. If there are any after effects and you can't paint anymore, I would never forgive myself. Wu Baoshan. It's not that serious. Staying in the hospital affects my mood, which isn't good for recovery. Luoshi couldn't insist further, so she asked, Master Wu, would you mind giving me your home address? You were injured saving me, and I can never fully repay this life-saving debt. I happen to know how to make medicinal dishes, and I'd like to prepare some that would help with your recovery and deliver them to you daily. Would you give me that opportunity? Wu Baoshan wanted to decline, but seeing the sincerity in her eyes, he swallowed his refusal and smiled. Then I'll be in for a treat. I didn't expect you to know both medicine and medicinal cooking. These days, few young women even know how to cook. Hee. To be honest, medicinal cooking is my specialty. I only know a little bit about medicine, Luoshi said lightly. Wu Baoshan was certain her medical knowledge was more than just basic, but hearing her downplay it, he didn't expose her. Luoshi chatted with Master Wu for a while, got his address, and they exchanged phone numbers before she left. Su Yi had already handled her discharge procedures and asked again as they were leaving. Are you sure you don't want to see a psychologist? Luoshi firmly shook her head. She wouldn't see a psychologist, especially not one Chu Jingshi found for her. Su Yi thought his staying up all night with her, helping food court find a medicinal chef, and contacting psychologists was because he liked her, not knowing it was just his remaining conscience. After leaving the hospital, Luoshi didn't let Su Yi drive her. She needed to go somewhere else first. Today's board meeting didn't go smoothly for Chu Jingshi. He didn't use the assassin to threaten the Ning family, and the Ning family took the lead in vetoing a proposal he had championed. As soon as the meeting adjourned, Chu Jingshi left without showing any signs of anger. Ning Zuan couldn't figure him out. He called the old man at home and explained what had happened at the board meeting. He's becoming increasingly inscrutable, and his actions are completely unpredictable now, the old mister. Ning still couldn't understand why Chu Jingshi, who had clearly caught someone, didn't use them to threaten them, but instead handed them over to the police. Ning Ziyuan felt this wasn't a good sign, indicating that Chu Jingshi would be harder to deal with, and they wouldn't be able to take over the Chu Corporation anytime soon. Let's lie low for now and see what he does next. If they couldn't figure it out, they might as well wait and see. Eventually, they'd understand. That was all they could do for now. Meanwhile, Chu Jingshi didn't return to his office, but went straight downstairs. Chen Shu followed closely, reporting, Mr. Chu, the psychologist from the capital has arrived. But the hospital said Mrs. Chu has been discharged. I called Mrs. Chu, but she didn't answer. Where did she go? Chu Jingxi paused. Chen Shu carefully mentioned a place. The cemetery. Chu Jingxi's handsome face darkened slightly. The cemetery. When Luo Shi arrived, the weather was just a bit gloomy. Soon after, a light drizzle began. She hadn't brought an umbrella, but not wanting to waste the trip, she decided to talk to Aunt Shu in the rain. After some time, steady footsteps approached from behind, followed by a large black umbrella covering her head. The familiar scent told her who it was without turning around. Instead of staying in the hospital, you're here, getting rained on. Do you think your life is too long? Chu Jingxi's characteristic coolness sounded in her ear. Chen Shu, a few steps behind. Boss, always saying the opposite of what you mean like this. You'll easily lose your wife. He had ordered the driver to speed here as soon as he saw it was raining outside, yet now he says such things. Chen Shu was amazed at his boss's lack of emotional intelligence. Luo Shi remained silent, still looking sad. Chu Jingxi couldn't help feeling guilty and softened his tone. Let's go back. If you catch a cold, you'll need injections and medicine again. Don't you hate that the most? You actually remember what I dislike. Luo Shi spoke with a tone of surprise. Chu Jingxi was at a loss for words, but unusually didn't argue with her. He put his arm around her shoulders to lead her away. Luo Shi noticed he didn't even glance at the tombstone, which made her heart sink. Aunt Chu had spent her whole life scheming for Chu Jingxi, yet he only harbored hatred for her. But this was what she had sought. It was Aunt Chu who deliberately made Chu Jingxi hate her. She hoped Chu Jingxi would become a person without emotions or attachments, so he wouldn't suffer as much pain. After all, if she had been able to harden her heart and ignore Chu Jingxi back then, she wouldn't have had to break up with the man she loved, nor marry a playboy, living her entire life in misery. Aunt Chu, if you have any spirit in heaven, please bless Chu Jingxi to be as cold and indifferent to Meng Ruxue as he is to me. This way, he can fulfill your wish and not suffer for any emotions. Luo Shi lowered her eyes, lost in thought, not noticing that after walking about 10 meters, Chu Jingxi turned his head back, looking at the lonely tombstone from afar. She was led into the car by Chu Jingxi, who then took out a dry towel to gently wipe her head. I'll do it myself. Luo Shi would no longer misunderstand his unusual behavior. She took the towel and moved away from him, creating some distance. Chu Jingxi pressed his lips together. After drying her hair, Luo Shi casually wiped her body and suddenly asked, I heard you had a board meeting today. Did it go well? Chu Jingxi remained silent, staring into her eyes, and instead of answering, he asked, Why did you come here? Luo Shi. I dreamt about Aunt Chu all night. I thought she must be missing me, so I came to visit. Leah? Chu Jingxi had watched over her all night and heard her murmur about her father, mother, grandfather, and grandmother, but never once about his aunt. Luo Shi, however, wondered why Chu Jingxi was changing the subject. Was it guilt, or did the board meeting not go well? Could it be that the assassin didn't implicate the Ning family, so Chu Jingxi couldn't get any leverage against them and couldn't confront them at the board meeting? That's right, if the Ning family were so easy to deal with, Aunt Chu wouldn't have died so early. But none of this mattered to her anymore. Chu Jingxi's poison had been completely cleared. She had fulfilled her promise to Aunt Chu, and this time she had nearly lost her life for him. She truly owed him nothing now. Do you have any plans later? She asked. Chu Jingxi. Nothing. I'll accompany you to the hospital to see the psychologist. I've asked the expert, hemophobia can be cured as long as... Does my hemophobia bother you? Luo, she interrupted impatiently. Chen Shu clearly heard Chu Jingxi's sharp intake of breath, obviously angered. Don't avoid treatment for an illness, he said, surprisingly not losing his temper. Chen Shu thought to himself that he hadn't guessed wrong. The boss truly cared for his wife now. Otherwise, let someone else try talking to him like that. Luo Shi. Have you heard a saying? Chu Jingxi. Luo Shi smiled sarcastically. Care that comes too late is cheaper than grass. Chu Jingxi pressed his lips together, his eyebrows furrowing. Chen Shu secretly glanced at the rearview mirror, feeling that the boss was really about to lose his temper this time. He had followed the boss for many years and had never seen him care about anyone. Not even when his own aunt fell seriously ill did he urgently seek out specialists. I've been negligent. I'm very busy with work. In the future, if you're not feeling well, you should tell me immediately. Chu Jingxi surprised Chen Shu once again. Not just Chen Shu. Even the driver couldn't help but glance at the boss, deeply suspecting if he had been possessed. With such a good temper, was this still the boss they knew? We're about to divorce. What future is there? Since you're free today, let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Luo Shi, knowing the reason for Chu Jingxi's unusual behavior, wasn't moved by his words at all. Driver. Kenzo. Were they supposed to hear this? Luo Shi. Chu Jingshi's temples throbbed with anger. Don't you dare mention divorce again. Divorce, divorce, divorce. Luo, she insisted on mentioning it. You have a bad temper, you're terrible in bed, and you don't treat me well. Why should I tie myself to a crooked tree like you? MMPH. Her mouth was suddenly sealed, cutting off the rest of Luo Shi's words. It took her several seconds to remember to push him away, but she was firmly pressed against the car seat, her cherry lips being fiercely sucked. Luo Shi was forced to endure his kiss, her eyes reddening with anger. When she got the chance, she bit his lip hard. Chu Jingshi hissed in pain, and Luo, she took the opportunity to push him away. Her recently ravished lips were unusually bright, and combined with her red eyes like a little white rabbit, it made him take another sharp breath. The first was from pain, the latter clearly from suppressing a certain desire. With his mind in turmoil, Chu Jingshi didn't forget about her hemophobia. He immediately took out a tissue and pressed it to his mouth, covering the blood that had appeared. This subtle action made Luo Shi's heart ache. She looked away. Chu Jingshi was too good at acting. If she didn't know the truth, she would have been secretly delighted by his thoughtfulness again. Chu Jingshi changed several pieces of paper before the bleeding stopped. Then, he stuffed the bloodied tissues where Luo Shi couldn't see them. Luo Shi saw it in the reflection of the car window. She was too lazy to tell him that she could tolerate such a small amount of blood. Otherwise, how would she change sanitary napkins every month? Luo Shi, let's talk. Chu Jingshi tugged at her arm, signaling her to turn around. What is there to talk about? Luo Shi asked, turning sideways. Chu Jingshi, why do you insist on a divorce? Want to hear the truth? Luo Shi asked back. Chu Jingshi nodded. Luo Shi, because you don't like me. Do you like me? Chu Jingshi asked subconsciously. Luo Shi laughed mockingly. You can ask that question, which shows that in these 3 years, you haven't even looked at me properly. Chu Jingshi bit his lip in regret. After a long while, he said, I'm sorry. Because of my aunt, I dislike you for everything related to her. Actually, I don't dislike you that much. Luo Shi wasn't moved at all. She just followed his words and asked, so what? Now you've discovered that I'm not that annoying. So you're planning to live well with me? Can't we try? Chu Jingshi admitted that he had this idea. He hadn't had this idea before last night, but last night she was almost killed, and he suddenly realized that he was scared. So he wanted to try, whether it was just habit or something else, he would know after trying. No, I'm afraid you can't afford to try, Luo Shi said. Chu Jingshi. What do you mean? Luo Shi. You've never understood me. I think you've already noticed that I'm not as gentle and submissive as I used to be. That's because I'm not a gentle and submissive person at all. If someone curses at me, I will curse back. If someone hits me, I will return the favor twice. You like a young lady like Meng Rushua. As for me, I'm just a wild girl from a small town. Because of her description of herself, Chu Jingshi inexplicably wanted to laugh and corrected, wild girls don't bite. You are clearly a little wildcat. Luo Shi. What are you focusing on? Seeing that she was about to get angry, Chu Jingshi restrained his smile and said seriously, I take back those words. Just as I don't understand you, you don't understand me as much as you think. In the past, with my aunt in the middle, I saw many things about you that displeased me. So naturally, all I showed was impatience and a bad temper. Luo Shi reminded him, you're not showing much patience and good temper now either. Chu Jingshi didn't refute and went along with it. I will pay attention to it in the future. We will face each other with our true selves for a period of 3 months. If you still want a divorce after 3 months, then I agree. Afraid that she would still disagree, he paused and added, when we divorce, I will not let you leave with nothing. I will give you half of the properties under my name, plus 1 billion in alimony. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw a gleam in her eyes, like a greedy little wildcat. Surprisingly, Chu Jingshi didn't think she was vulgar. She was indeed much more pleasing to the eye after taking off her disguise. Want to try it? He asked, acting like she wouldn't get a deal like this anywhere else. Yes, yes, yes. Luo Shi nodded vigorously, not forgetting to add a condition. Let's draw up a contract first, otherwise if you don't keep your promise, who am I going to reason with? Chu Jingshi. He was wrong, a little wildcat was not that clever. She was clearly a wild fox. Helpless, Chu Jingshi tapped on the partition that had been raised by Chen Shu when he kissed Luo Shi. The partition lowered, and Chen Shu asked, Mr. Chu, what are your instructions? Draw up a contract now, roughly stating that if I divorce Luo Shi after 3 months, she could take half of my property plus 1 billion, Chu Jingshi instructed. Kensu, weren't they just kissing? How are they drawing up a divorce agreement now? Luo Shi weakly asked Chu Jingshi. Can we add another clause that I can use your black card without limit during the marriage, and you can't get back the money I spend when we divorce? Add it. Chu Jingxi ordered Chen Shu without batting an eye. Kenzo, although very confused, he still did as he was told, quickly opened his laptop and began typing furiously. 3 minutes later, Luo, she held a freshly printed divorce agreement in her hands. She signed it with satisfaction, looking like she had already received 1 billion. Chu Jingxi. How did it feel like he had dug a hole for himself? At this moment, the car stopped in front of the hospital. The driver reminded Mr. Chu, the hospital is here. I'm not getting out of the car. Luo, she immediately clung to the car door. Chu Jingxi frowned. Luo, she added, you can't force me to do anything, otherwise I'll be unhappy. And if I'm unhappy, I'll want a divorce. Chu Jingxi gritted his teeth. Don't joke with your own body. It's just blood phobia. It doesn't affect my health. Luo, she was very resistant. Anyway, I'm not going. Chu Jingxi didn't want to start arguing on the first day of trying. So he could only compromise. Fine, if you don't want to go, I'll take you back to rest. Luo, she. I don't want to go home either. Then where do you want to go? Chu Jingxi asked patiently. Luo, she. I want to go to the mall. Chu Jingxi. What do you want to buy? It's none of your business. Luo, she seemed to be deliberately testing his bottom line. Chu Jingxi took a breath and ordered the driver. Go to the mall. Luo, she smiled. But her heart was desolate. Chu Jingxi hadn't changed at all. 3 years ago, he compromised with his aunt to marry her for the sake of the shares. 3 years later, in order to bring down the Ning family, he could also restrain his bad temper in front of her. He was so flexible and adaptable, even Han Xian would be ashamed of himself. But it didn't matter. Wasn't it just acting? Who couldn't do that? The driver stopped the car at the entrance of the most high-end mall in Xincheng. Luo, she got out of the car, without even saying goodbye to Chu Jingxi, with the feeling of being completely disavowing him. Chen Shu secretly glanced at Chu Jingxi. The boss just rubbed his brows helplessly and ordered the driver to return to the company. Seeing this, he silently swallowed the words, should we stop by a pharmacy to buy some medicine to apply? The boss probably didn't care much about going to work with a cut on his mouth, right? Luo, she entered the mall and called Su Yi first, asking if she had arrived. Su Yi, I arrived long ago, at the Four Treasure Studio. Come quickly, I found something good for you. Luo, she hung up the phone and went to find Su Yi. Master Wu had saved her, and she wanted to buy some calligraphy supplies to give him. Otherwise, she would feel bad about it. When she arrived at the Four Treasure Studio, Su Yi was arguing with someone. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be the Meng Rushua sisters.